Kamaru Usman versus Leon Edwards 2. The rematch takes place this weekend in the main event of UFC 278, Usman versus Edwards 2, and I can't wait for this matchup. A big fight in the welterweight division. The belt is on the line. Champion Kamaru Usman attempts to make another defense of his world title against a dangerous contender in Leon Edwards, who will tell you himself, that's 9 fights in a row. It's 9 fights in a row for Leon Edwards. Can he make it 10 against Kamaru Usman, the welterweight world champion? We're going to have to find out. Are we going to have a man with the voice of Leon Edwards as a champion in UFC history? Are we? I believe we are, and I'll get to that in a second, but this is a massive matchup for Kamaru Usman. This will be like the end, and I know a lot of people say that Kamaru Usman has lapped the division. He really hasn't. He's lapped like one half of the division, I would say. There's two different sides of the welterweight division in the UFC. There's the side with some kind of name value, and there's also a side of people that just can't get a title shot no matter what they do. Like, they can get a top 5 win, no title shot. Masvidal beats Nate Diaz, gets a title shot. You know what I'm saying? Belal Muhammad gets a top 5 win, no title shot. 2 top 5 wins for Belal Muhammad, by the way. Leon Edwards beats Nate Diaz, gets a title shot. You know what I'm saying? Someone else like Vicente Luque can come up and beat Michael Chiesa and then beat Tyron Woodley as well. No title shot. Colby Covington beats Tyron Woodley coming off of a loss to Gilbert Burns at the time. Okay? He gets a title shot. It's been a very weird situation in the welterweight division. I will be honest with you. A very strange situation in the welterweight division. However, Usman's lapping one half of the division and he's about to fight Leon Edwards again. And this is not so much of like oh, you're fighting Masvidal again. Oh, you're fighting Colby Covington again. This is more of a situation where you're like, okay, Leon Edwards, this was a while ago, and this is almost like a fresh matchup again. But we can tell a lot from that first fight. It was a very close one, and I feel as though Leon Edwards is going to get this one done. I was looking at the first fight again. Leon Edwards arguably won the first round. It was a close round still. The second round went to Kamaru Usman. The third round was dominated by Kamaru Usman. I think the difference in the fighters that were there in that fight the first time and now, I'm looking at Usman's stand-up, and don't get me wrong, it has gotten better. It has gotten better. His jab's got a bit better. His front kick has got a little bit better as well. He's throwing a bit more kicks into his game here and there. But when you really look at Usman in the stand-up department in his career, I don't think having success with your stand-up should ultimately determine, oh, you're now better at stand-up. That's what I don't feel like should happen. I think it should be like very visual. Like Usman, in my opinion, I know a lot of people aren't even going to like this take because he finished Burns with a jab and he finished Masvidal with a straight right hand. Usman, in my opinion, still throws shots like an amateur. You know what I'm saying? His jab has gotten better. I will admit. Is it world class? Like, I know a lot of people are like, people say stuff like, oh, Usman's got the best jab in the UFC now. No. Okay, but it's now an acceptable jab. That's the difference, okay? So Usman went from absolutely terrible to okay and acceptable, and that actually looks like a jab. That's how it felt with Kamaru Usman. And then in the Masvidal fight, he landed that straight right hand in the second fight and put away Masvidal. But before that, there was so many other right hands that were just terrible looking, and he was throwing them over himself, and he was throwing 2 punches at the same time. Like, it's just, I feel as though Usman's improvements have been in like the physical area. Like, his cardio has gotten way better. Even though like he used to fight for 3-rounders, Usman used to slow down a lot more. Not in the Edwards fight because he had his way a little bit more with the grappling, but Usman used to slow down a lot more, and then since he sort of got to the point where he's getting 5-rounders, his cardio has massively improved. Against RDA, against Damian Maia, against Woodley, against Covington, he has way massively improved cardio in his career now. And it's like his power seems to have improved, but maybe his delivery system is a lot better now. But for Leon Edwards, I'm noticing real improvements. His boxing is so much better now than it used to be. His kicks are way better as well, the way he sneaks them in there against opponents. Things looked very forced with Leon Edwards before, but now he's chopping at the legs, he's switch kicking to the body. Very, very good stuff is being shown by Leon Edwards. He'll whip a head kick up there out of nowhere. His clinch game is night and day compared to the guy who showed up against Usman in that first fight. The way he separates and throws elbows and even throws knees to the body. He looked kind of like terrified in the clinch when he was taking on Usman in their first fight, because he was worried, oh god, I don't really want to throw a knee because he might catch the leg and go for a single leg. I don't really want to try and separate and throw an elbow because I'll lose an underhook and he'll take me down. Whereas nowadays, Edwards is like, I'm going to go for these moves in the clinch because I feel like I can have a better chance with them now, because if he does shoot a takedown, I'm much more confident that I'm going to be able to stuff it. I think his cardio is a little bit of a problem. In my opinion, he does slow down a little bit, but I feel like that's going to be okay because he throws a lot of investment shots, and I think he's going to throw a lot of investment shots against a guy like Kamaru Usman. I just watch Usman fight, and I watch Leon Edwards fight, and if there was, and I'm saying this right now, if you had no idea who Usman was, or his opponents, and you watched Usman fight, and you watched Leon Edwards fight, I think 90% of people would pick Leon Edwards to win. I really believe that. If you didn't know Usman was the champion, and you didn't know Leon Edwards was a top contender, and there was that difference between them, and what they've achieved so far in their career, the difference in achievements that they have, and you just showed the silhouette of Leon Edwards throw a body kick compared to Usman throw a body kick, Leon Edwards throw a jab compared to Usman, a right hand compared to Usman, a hook compared to Usman, an uppercut, clinch work compared to Usman's clinch work, you would assume Leon Edwards is the dominant world champion here. But no, Usman's got that power. He's got that recovery. He's got the cardio factor as well. All of these physical advantages that he has that make up for a lot of technical flaws. And when there's so many differences in their technique, and I know people are going to say, what about the grappling? I think Leon's going to be able to stuff the takedowns now. People don't realize Leon Edwards didn't really have any grappling experience. He was just doing like MMA style grappling, and then before the Usman fight, he went over to AKA to try and sort of like scramble together some kind of idea of grappling. And now he's really improved from that moment. Now he's sort of stuck to it. Like, there's only so much you can learn from, like, he's basically rushing studying before a big test of his career. Like, you've got to do it like a long time before. It's got to be like a natural thing that you do over time before you're going to become second nature to it. You know what I mean? So I feel like Leon Edwards' grappling is going to be good enough to keep this fight standing. And he's got a bit more of reach than other opponents that Usman has had in his career, especially in Gilbert Burns, who he out-jabbed, and Covington, who at times he out-jabbed as well, but at times Covington jabbed with him. But Usman's jab always seemed a little bit more powerful here and there. But I was watching Covington versus Usman, and I was thinking to myself, if Leon can keep this standing, which I believe he can, who wins? Because Usman versus Covington, people are going to talk about the cardio of Usman. Usman didn't push a high pace on Covington. The first round, nothing happened. Usman won on like strikes at range. Nothing really happened in round one for Usman and Covington too. Round two, Usman knocked down Covington twice at the end of the round. Before that, nothing really happened. They just kind of missed each other, but Usman landed a few more than Covington did. You know what I'm saying? And in round three, Covington beat Usman in round three on the more significant shots, and he got a takedown in that round. And in round four, Covington dominated Usman. And in round five, it was close, but Covington landed the more effective shots that got more of a reaction out of Usman. So he wins that round. It was a draw. And I'm thinking, if Leon Edwards gets this much chance on the feet, he's going to make Usman pay. If Covington is rocking you, or hurting you, with a body kick, Edwards is going to rock you with a body kick, or hurt you, with a body kick. You ain't got a brain inside your stomach to be rocked, but either way, Edwards is going to hurt you with a body kick. Edwards is going to be chewing up your leg at range. Covington can't do that. He's not going to do that. Covington kicks. If you've ever noticed Covington kick, the only time I've ever seen Covington land a solid kick with the shin, he hurt Usman to the body, and he also like broke Woodley's rib in their fight. People say the rib break was like a random thing when he tried the guillotine. There's actually a moment in the Woodley fight, because I rewatched it recently, where Covington in round 3 or something kicks Woodley's rib with his right leg, and Woodley like touches his rib on his left side and goes and makes a little like coughing noise, and I think that's where he broke his rib. Covington rarely does kick with the shin though. He normally like smashes toes or his foot into someone's leg or someone's body and doesn't care because he'll tough it out. He's Colby Covington, you know what I mean? But with Leon Edwards, it's also precise. He'll mix up the hands, and then when you start bringing your guard up, he'll land over underneath it with a body kick. Then once you get used to that, he'll start whipping up head kicks. And then leg kicks in between, calf kicks that he's going to go for. And Usman sits so heavy on that lead leg. With the grappling defense improved, I genuinely believe Leon is going to outstrike Usman for 4 of 5 rounds. I think in round 5, Edwards is going to begin to slow down, and Usman is going to have like a final rallying moment where he starts to have some success. And I feel like Leon Edwards is a fighter who fights to his level of competition. And I've had a lot of comments on my full card prediction video saying, you're so stupid. How can you believe Leon Edwards beats Kamaru Usman? Dude, Leon Edwards went to a decision with Gunnar Nelson. Leon Edwards went to a decision with RDA. Leon Edwards went to a decision with Donald Cerrone. And my response back was, dude, you're so stupid. How can you believe Usman beats Woodley? He went to a decision with Wale Alves. He went to a decision with Emil Meek. He went to it. You can name these fighters. And sure, you know, he went to a decision with RDA as well on the build-up. Woodley would finish those guys. You don't know it's going to happen until it happens. And we should have seen it coming with Usman and Woodley. He's bigger, he's stronger, he can wrestle with Woodley. Woodley doesn't like pressure. We should have seen it coming. I should have seen it coming. But I was too inept. I was too inept at predicting back then. Rory McDonald pressured Woodley. He hated it and he lost. Marquardt pressured Woodley. He hated it and he lost. Jake Shields pressured Woodley. He hated it and he lost. And then you've got Usman. And I should have thought if Usman can take the power, he should dominate Woodley here. Can Edwards take the power is the big question. I think if he sees it coming, he can. And Usman, you see the shots coming. And Edwards isn't going to be there laughing and bouncing around like Masvidal was, who said in the build-up, by the way, this was still when people were discounting Usman's power in his hands. This guy's got pillow fists. I can take his shots. There's no way he's going to KO me. Having that mindset going into a fight, you're probably going to get KO'd. You know what I'm saying? Edwards knows Usman has power. He's going to be wary of it. People know it now. So I think they're going to pay it more respect than just, I've got to stuff the takedowns. I think Edwards is genuinely going to kick at Usman at range for 4 rounds of this fight, win it 49-46, and then they're going to do a rematch, and in the meantime, they're going to do the winner of Chimaev Diaz or the winner of Bilal Muhammad Sean Brady versus Colby Covington, and they're going to have that matchup go down. I think it will conveniently help the division structure to have a trilogy between Usman and Edwards, and I think it's going to happen. You've got Usman coming off of a broken hand. That's a bad sign here, in my opinion. He was only cleared to start punching things again after Chandler versus Ferguson, which took place in, I think it was April. I'm just going to check it right now. Chandler versus Ferguson took place in May, the start of May. Usman was still not able to punch full contact at that moment because in the build-up in Embedded, he was doing like Imanari rolls, and they were talking about how, you know, I can still help out in other ways rather than doing sparring with him. So is this a rushed return for Usman here? Is he still going to have the same confidence in that right hand landing? Is it going to be fully healed? You know what I'm saying? Is he got the timing down where Edwards has been healthy this whole time? Fighting and getting ready and sparring and staying in shape and staying improving as a fighter. You look at the age difference between them. You see that Kamaru Usman in their first fight was 28 years of age. It was 7 years ago, I believe, their first fight. If we go back to 2015, it was 7 years ago. Kamaru Usman was 28, about to enter his prime. He's now in the prime, kind of leaving it now, typically, for a career. He's now 35. Leon Edwards, when they first fought each other, was 23 years of age. A child in the sport of MMA. He's now 30. He's got a longer reach than other Usman opponents, like Burns and Covington, who have had trouble with the range. Masvidal, I think, had a similar reach to Edwards, but Edwards uses that range way more. Masvidal likes to be scrappy. He's not a jab and move type of guy or a 1-2 on the outside type of guy. He's a rush in, throw a left hook, and follow up with some combinations type of guy, and that don't work on Usman. I think Edwards is going to pick him apart. land some body kicks, land some knees and elbows in the clinch. And I think it's going to be the first time in a while, because we've never seen this on Usman's face in his entire career. And when it happens, it's a shock to the system. I think for the first time in a while, we're going to see Leon Edwards body kick Usman, hurt him a little bit, take his time, leg kick afterwards. We're going to see some swelling on the calf of Usman. We're going to see some swelling on the eye of Usman. We're going to see an elbow from Edwards open up a cut on Usman's face. I think these are the things that we're going to see, and that's going to affect how Usman fights as the fight goes on. And I think Edwards is going to give him massive problems. We have also seen in Usman, I want to make this my final point, yes or no, a significant decrease in grappling skill since his knee surgeries and since the problems that he's been having with his knees. Usman used to get people down and keep them down. He has not been able to do that for a very long time. He didn't try and shoot on Covington, okay? And even in those close rounds where he arguably was losing, like in round 4, he still didn't try and shoot. He didn't even bother to go to the ground with Gilbert Burns. Smart, but still telling. Even in danger where he got rocked, he just opted to stay on the feet and try and figure it out. And Burns just laid on his back for 3 minutes. Then you've got other times where he's kept down Woodley, but he hasn't been able to do that. To Masvidal even. In the first fight with Masvidal, when Masvidal came in on short notice, Masvidal couldn't even escape. Like, he was just stuck against a cage or being kept on the ground and stuff like that. But in the second fight, Masvidal popped right back up every time. I feel like Edwards is going to be a bit better with a grappling than Masvidal. I think he's more committed to his career. Rangier. Knows how to use his leg reach. I just think he's better in general. And unless he gets KO'd, I don't see him losing. And to bet on Usman to KO an opponent, I know people are going to say, don't get hit by Usman. Covington took him in the second fight. He got rocked, but he got back up and he kept going, and then Usman started to lose. Masvidal got KO'd. Completely understand it was a perfect punch. Burns got finished with jabs in round 3 because he started to gas. And Burns was literally crying in round 2. People talk about Burns crying at the end of the fight. Burns was literally crying in the cage in round 2 in the middle of their fight. He had a massive adrenaline dump and he completely burned himself out in round 1. No like logical game plan for that fight for him. Masvidal in the first fight took the shots well. Covington, it took till the 5th round, and Usman was landing massive shots before then. Woodley took all the shots. Dos Anjos took all the shots. Maia took all the shots. I'm thinking, like, Edwards sure has shown an ability to be rocked, but against a guy like Usman where he's going to be ready and cautious of that power, I'm not going to rely on Usman as a massive favourite to have a puncher's chance in this fight. I don't see him out grappling Edwards either. And last time he tried to grapple with Masvidal in a rematch, he did look like he was starting to slow down. Now he landed that straight right hand, but he looked like he was gassing in that second fight a bit. Breathing way heavier than we're used to. I think it's interesting. And I'm going with Leon Edwards. I can't unsee what I'm seeing here. I think we're going to see a big upset. And then a trilogy. Who knows who wins the trilogy? Probably Edwards again. But I think this style for him is good. I don't know about the other styles at welterweight, but this one's good for Leon Edwards. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Toodle pip. I'll see you later. Goodbye.